LCARA Ham Radio presents a Time Machine Tuesday vintage video release.
Welcome to Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association. You can find us at LCARA.net, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. If you're enjoying the videos we're producing here at LCARA, please help our club out by hitting that subscribe button. Also, give us some feedback on our videos. Click the like button, share with anybody who may find it interesting, and be sure and hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified of the next video release.
Hello folks, this is Chris, KY4CKP, and we have LCARA on the bench. We've got a pretty simple little project for you today, and I'm just continuing some work here around my shack, converting more and more things over to Anderson power poles. It's a relative standard in the ham radio world, especially for races and Aries and things like that. And I've got this power distribution box that I did help assemble myself, although my Elmer finished it off and gifted it to me, so that was very nice of him. And of course, it's preset for Anderson power poles, 2 amps through 25 amp connectors there, fused, and it does have a little light that comes on to let you know when there's power going through it. So that's nice. And when I got that, it had a heavy duty, pretty heavy duty set of leads that went to bare wire. So what I did already in a previous previous work is I did put some Anderson power poles on the end of that, so I can connect to various distribution mechanisms in the field. But I wanted some flexibility because I still have equipment, and sometimes I'll take a simple raw battery in the field to do some simple work in a park or something. And so I made this little pigtail. Again, a simple little project. I put Anderson power poles on one side of it and just some heavy-duty protected alligator clips on the other one. And this way, for something like this distribution box or almost anything, I can either do the Anderson power poles, or I can still, connect to like a classic style battery if that's how I'm going to operate, or if that's what's available to me. So it just gives me some more options. So what I want to do today is sort of an extension of that concept. I was also gifted this little power meter, and they're not very expensive, maybe $5 or $10 on eBay or Amazon. A little 12-volt power meter, and you can see it has some fairly thin leads, and they just end in bare wire, so you can solder it onto something, or put your own kind of connector types on there. And so what I'm going to do is continue sort of this concept where I'm going to put some Anderson power poles on it. And then that way I can use it, I can plug it into this distribution box if it's connected to a battery, and the box has an LED to tell me there's power, but then I can use the meter to help me keep track of how much power is left in that battery if I've been working, again, portable or mobile at a park or something. So I'll put the power poles on there, but then I could also have a pigtail that I could clip right into it like you see here, and I could check a battery easily and directly. So that's the little project for today. The wires are thin, and so the recommendation is I'm going to strip about twice as much wire length as I need for the Anderson connectors. I'm going to double the bare wire up on itself, and maybe put just a little bit of solder on that, just to give it a little bit of extra meat. And we'll see if we can get those power poles on there, and then we'll have a nice, useful little meter there that we can use in a number of situations. And so that's the project on the bench today. So we'll kind of get set up for that, and we're going to bring you folks right back. All right, folks, we're back, and all I've done so far is I cut about twice as much bare wire as I needed for the power pole connection, folded it back on itself, and just twisted it up a little bit. Again, just to start giving myself some more volume to work with here. Now, I went ahead and put just a little bit of solder here on the black lead, and I'll show you that procedure. Just some real simple little soldering. You don't need much. We're not trying to make it real thick or real heavy. Just a little bit that held it on there. So I'll do that here to the red one, and then we should be about ready to go ahead and see if we can put the power pole connectors on there. And see if we can give it a test. So, iron should already be getting hot. I'm going to work around the camera here, so if I bump it just slightly, All right. You are in the way. Okay. I've got a little solder on there, just a little bit. I don't need a whole lot. It's just a little bit. I don't want to make it too thick. Try to make sure it'll still go in the connector. So I think that's enough. It was just a little bit. And try to get my cable out of the way there. So I think that'll do it on those connectors. Like I say, just a little tiny bit of solder. And I think that should have us good to go. So we'll pause this little segment. We'll bring you right back and see about putting these connectors on here. And then we'll also see if we can give it a test. So we'll be right back. All right, folks, we're back. And I just wanted to show where we are at this current time. I went ahead and did the crimping, but I wanted to just go over what I did. I just took the connectors. May have a little bit of a hard time focusing on those. And you just want to get them oriented correctly. You have to pay a little bit of attention for the Anderson power poles. Once you get them made, they're keyed one way and you can't mess anything up. But when you put them on, you have to pay attention. Make sure you get the curvature to be in the right orientation with these. So you can see these are going to go on like this. So just pay a little bit of attention when you do that. Excuse me. So I've got these on here, and you put them in curve side down. And when you put them in the jaw of your crimper, let me bring in the giant crimper of death here. When you bring in the crimper, you'll put it in with that curve side down. And it's very important you put the orientation in correctly, because the crimper itself, the very top of it's kind of heart shaped. It's got a little peak up here. And so when you crimp the barrel connector, which has a slit at the top, which is why you want that curved spoon side down, and then that heart shape, it's going to crimp it in like this. So hopefully that kind of makes sense to folks. And you can kind of see it here on the back side of these, if it'll focus. See how it's kind of divoted in there. And it should give you a good solid mechanical, mechanical bond there on that. And then I sometimes put just a little dab of solder on that as well. But I think these are good. Again, I like to put just a little dab of solder on that. You don't want to put much, or you don't have to really do it at all. You want to make sure it'll still go in the plastic housing okay. That was pretty much it for the crimping. Again, we doubled the wire, put just a little solder on it. And that, again, it seemed like that worked. It seemed like it gave us a good, amount of wire to get a good crimp. Now, the other things I've kind of done in preparation is I put a couple little pieces of heat shrink tubing on here, and then a bigger piece. The big piece is just kind of for wire management, and then the little pieces we'll put on there. Make sure there's no bare wire hanging out the back of these. And that's pretty much it. We're really bump the camera there. We're really kind of ready to put these in here. Now I think I'm going to put just a dab of solder on maybe the back end of these. Again, I don't want to keep them from being able to go into plastic. So I've still got my soldering station. It should still be warmed up. Let me bring it back over here. All right, folks. So I just wanted to show what we did on the black connector there. And you don't really have to do this. I think a lot of times folks will consider this optional. I just want to put a dab of solder kind of on the back end of this. And if you got a little bit of plastic casing, kind of try to watch out for that, not burn it too badly. But see if we can get just a little solder to flow into this. It should have a good mechanical connection at this point, but try to really only have to do this stuff one time. So we can get it hot. Get just a little. All right, so I think I got a little bit in there. So I think that's good. Just a little bit. It's always fun trying to solder around the camera left-handed. Of course, Brian, KY4BDP, he'd be okay with that because he is left-handed. A little bit more of a challenge for me, though. All right, so we got that on there. What we'll do is we'll let that cool for just a moment. Take it out of the clamp. The black one, let's swing back around here a little bit. Black one should be okay. It should be about cool now. That red one, too bad. We should be ready to snap these in. When you push them in, they should snap in. When the curved part, let's get in the center here, when the curved part comes over the metal lip that's in there, little metal insert, it should kind of snap in a little bit. Let's see if we can get these to go in. And I may have to finagle that a little bit. And I'm trying to think. I may want to do the heat shrink first. So let me do this heat shrink. I'm going to do this off camera since I'm going to be working with some heat and stuff. But I'm just going to move these little pieces of heat shrink that I prepared. I'm just going to move these right towards the back a little bit, cover up any bare wire, and then that should still be able to slip right on in there. So I'm just going to put those on there, and we'll bring you folks right back. All right, folks, we're back, and all I did was again slip those in there. Just have to finagle it just a little bit until you get a nice little snap. And it's hard to tell, but they came in and they slipped right over those little metal tabs. And we should be good to go. We should be good to go to give this a test. So you should be able to see there. I've got the two connectors for the battery, the clamps on there for the power distribution box. Hopefully you can see that blue LED is on to show us that we do in fact have power. And let's do a test. Let's just connect to the 2 amp. All we need to do is test the availability. So let's do a test and connect to that 2 amp. Again, working behind the camera here. Get the Andersons in there. And sure enough, we can now plug in and test the remaining capacity on the battery. So 12.7, it's pretty much fully charged, of course, right now. But, you know, if you're using this at the park, remote field day, you know, whatever it is, you can test your battery and, you know, kind of know when to stop. So nice little tool, and it makes it a little more handy, a little more useful now. And then again, the other thing I can do, let's go ahead and we'll unplug from the power box, is I've already got this pigtail made up. Keep that from falling on the ground. We should be able to plug right into the pigtail. And sure enough, we can test the battery directly as well. So having those little pigtails can really be handy, even if you have fairly standardized on power poles. So that's it, folks. Real simple. I'll probably heat up this heat shrink tube just to, again, for cable management. But that's pretty much it for this project. Looks like it turned out fine. It's simple enough, but gives me some options, gives me a way to use this little guy, and just make it a little more useful than having the bare wires on there. So this is Chris, KY4CKP. Thank you for joining us today on the bench. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified of any future video releases, and hit the like, and leave your comments in the section below. And 73.